Councilmember Trotter?
On the information sheet here, it says tower 18,000, communication system 35,000. I'm assuming you want the money for both so it's a $53,000 request?
That's correct, and some of it is directly off the state bid. All of the antennas and radio components are the tower was actually is a separate construction kind of a thing.
So, I mean, I understand we're on the, I mean, I've had, bad cell phone reception here and stuff like that. I understand we're not in a good reception area for radio communications and stuff like that. But before we moved into that building, apparently we had the adequate communications equipment in order to get Firecom and LESA, whatever. Why do we need now to buy new it seems like the antenna would be able to pick up the radio waves that we're not able to pick up, because I thought part of the problem was that we have a metal roof and that kind of helps them not get into the building. If the tower can pick up the radio frequencies and the communications, why do we need $35,000 worth of new equipment also in addition to the tower?
To clarify an issue, when we moved into the trailer, we were still operating under a different radio frequency system. And even to get that system into the trailer, which is just up the street, we had to put a base station and an antenna, not a tower, but a very high antenna outside the back of that building to get reception inside the facility. The other issue in our current facility is that right now our antenna site is at McNeil Island, which is exactly 6 miles north of us, so to speak. And that is really, as Bob said, that is really at the outer limits or the fringe of being able to get good reception. And what that antenna does is, with its height, it captures the signal, and then it brings that into the building for us so we can use it with, part of this equipment is desktop radios that we can then transmit and receive, not only in the police, the fire, but the EOC. So that the antenna brings a signal into the building, and then the base stations allow us to operate the radio desktops that we have throughout the building.
On the fire side, the Shaw station sits up on top the hill, and we did have an antenna on top of that, and that antenna will more likely be able to be used on that. Probably the most significant change in our model that has changed our radio signal is that when DuPont was basically on its own, when we got a call or we transmitted to Firecom, they used Anderson Island right across the street. So you could almost take some tinfoil and put it on your cavities and you could get a signal. I mean, that's how strong it was. When we married in and cooperated with the Lakewood system, we operate off their tower, which is 42 miles from here on Sparpole Mountain behind Ording. So that's where the signal comes to us here. So that immediately created the reception problem for us.
Councilmember Coffey.
Thank you. I think I remember in the past that even when the fire station was behind the old City Hall on Barksdale, that we had a real problem with reception over there also. And the reception in DuPont has been an ongoing problem for as long as I have lived here. So it's just something that needs to be taken care of, I believe.
That's an excellent point, Councilmember Coffey. When the firefighters were at the old station in Historic Village, there were times that calls were missed and the radio frequency was not there. So this has been an ongoing issue, I know specifically for our fire department, and it sounds like for our police department as well. Any other council comments? I'm going to ask staff to please inform where the source of the funding would come from for that $53,000. And then follow up with when City Council would touch this again for some type of action.
The funding source would be the Public Safety Mitigation Fund. There is enough funds in there, and it would be part of the second quarter budget adjustment to allocate that $53,000. The next thing that you would probably see is if, well, we're going to have to do a little bit more research and find out who we'd need to make the purchase order out to If it's over 50,000, it will be back on the council consent agenda for approval. If it's split into the two between Motorola and their associated vendor, then it would just be signed by you, Madam Mayor.
Council, any further discussion on this item?
This one's going out to Joker Clothing, Mr. Scandalous, Big Lucky, Mr. Cartoon, the whole Cali Untouchable clique, the whole Soul Assassin clique, Skinhead Rob, Booyah Tribe, homeboy.